Obviously, tough loss on Sunday. I was, like I said, I was on the drive home listening to the baseball game, and Coach Lake gave some updates. He says, we got some scores out here, and one's going to surprise you. And I was thinking, maybe Tennessee was losing or Texas A&M was losing in baseball. I was just like, okay, well, let's hear what this is. And he said the halftime score for the ladies against the Connecticut Huskies. I don't think anybody saw it coming. You can point back to I think it was 15-point loss against UCLA. Then you had the 4-point loss, the 4-point loss on the road to Texas. But I don't think anybody would. I mean, I don't even know what the line was, Alex. I'm sure the line was Gamecocks minus like 8 or something going into that game. And the Connecticut Huskies really put it on the Gamecocks. I don't think that anybody in the world would have predicted that any team in the country, let alone, even the best teams in the country, would shoot, 46% from three, 48% from the field, 83% from the free throw line. It's one of those, like Dawn Staley, like one thing she knows is defense, and her teams are always crazy athletic. They're crazy physical. They're crazy active. So UConn just kind of had one of those days that everything goes right for them. And it's funny because I've seen so much backlash about the game, and I've seen so many people saying, well, these girls just aren't good anymore. Like they're not going to win the national championship. And for me, Alex, I kind of laugh at that because there's a lot of these are blue blood problems. When you get upset because you lost by 29 to a traditional Connecticut, Tennessee, and I'll throw South Carolina in there, probably the top 3 teams in women's college basketball history. And maybe they're like Louisiana Tech. I don't know, back in the old days. But yeah, Tennessee, then you had UConn, now you have South Carolina. And it's kind of like Kansas fans, some random Kansas fans saying like, hey, let's fire Bill Self, back-to-back preseason #1 team in the country, and he just stinks now. What are your thoughts on that, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at that game. It was just one of those, you mentioned it. It was just one of those games where give credit to UConn. They came into Colonial Life Arena and they just played an incredible game. I mean, Azzy Fudd was 6 of 10 from 3, 11 of 22 from the field, 28 points. Paige Breckers about had a triple-double with 12, 10 assists and 7 rebounds. I mean, they just shot the ball extremely well. And I thought one of the things was they kind of controlled the paint as well. I mean, they out-rebounded South Carolina. I think it was 48-29. And so it was just South Carolina it was one of those games where South Carolina couldn't get much to go, couldn't get much to work right. And then Connecticut just, came in there, and you got to give credit to them. They just played a really good game. And, I think, it could be a game where it really refocuses South Carolina. And I think that, who knows, maybe this is something that they needed for the long run, and maybe it helps them out for the future games. And now they get back into the SEC slate where they obviously there's going to be some challenging games in the SEC slate, but maybe having something like that can help them for the future.
I think so too. We all know that Dawn, in her early years at Carolina, had to build the program, and they played Connecticut and they got their butts beat. They played Tennessee. They got their butts beat. But Dawn Staley has won 80.9% of her games at South Carolina. And on top of that, Alex, a crazy trivia question for you.
Okay.
Out of the last 6 seasons, Dawn Staley has coached 109 games at South Carolina. How many losses do you think she has in the last 109 games?
How many losses, you said?
Yeah, so starting the 2019-2020 season. 109 games.
Single digits?
So close. Including this season, she's lost 11 games. 11. So prior to this season, over the last, 6 seasons, she's lost 8 games. Gamecock fans are very, very spoiled. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be spoiled because it means your program's doing so well. But looking back at it, South Carolina since 2019, 2020, and I'm just using UConn because that's the talking point right now. But Gamecocks are 5-3 against UConn, and average margin of victory is 14.2 points. Yeah, they got their brains beat in this past Sunday, and no one saw it coming. And maybe it is cause for alarm, Alex. I don't know. You lost by 15 to UCLA on the road. You lose by 29 to UConn. You lose on the road to top 5 team Texas. But if your only losses on the season are to top 10 teams, and you have the record that you have outside of that,
Yeah.
I mean, people are just mad because the 71 game home winning streak ended. You just had the SEC winning streak end to Texas, a new team in the conference, but you got 3 national titles with Dawn Staley.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say you also have really good wins this year too. I mean, they got the LSU win, they got the Tennessee, a whole bunch of ranked wins. So I mean, it's they 2 of their losses are to 2 of the top teams in the country, and maybe if you want to look down the line to say, or maybe where do they stand with those other teams? But I think you feel like you're going to find that out in the Elite Eight or the Final Four, and once you get to those rounds, like anything can happen, and once you're there, like it's just kind of. Yeah, I don't know. You just kind of go all out. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I mean, once you get to those rounds, like you're there, and anything can happen.
Yeah, and I just highlighted EXO in the chat. We are the Alabama fans of women's basketball, and that's so true, though. It's like I tried to say with Kansas earlier, like Kansas men and Bill Self. Like people wonder if he's washed. Like I don't think Don's washed. Is this Dawn Staley's best team? No. And guess what? Unless they go 39-0 again, it's not going to be your best team.
Yeah.
You might have seen the crescendo, but is this still a top 4 to 5 team in the country this season? Absolutely. Is it still the best program in the country? Absolutely. Are they falling off a cliff? No. Is women's college basketball catching up to them? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, like they've been so freaking elite. 11 losses in 6 seasons. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we even talking about? And it took Caitlin Clark to beat them from, securing a couple of national championships in a row and another undefeated season. So I just hope that we kind of calm down on the Dawn Staley, calm down on the women's basketball team. And look, everyone's going to be tuning in, and you're going to see everyone on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram posting Gamecocks Final Four, 9 the last 10 years, whatever it is, and they'll be celebrating again. But losses suck.